bilateral meeting began this morning and will run until tomorrow. In local news, as official campaigning for the June 3rd local elections ends at midnight, Busan mayoral candidates will wrap up their 13-day race with final rallies today. Democratic Party candidate Jeon Jae-soo will campaign across several districts before holding his final push in Bukap and continuing on foot until midnight. People Power Party candidate Park Hyung-jun will meet voters in multiple areas, then hold his final rally in Seomyeon before moving to nearby streets. Reform Party candidate Jung Hee-an will also hold last rallies in key Seomyeon spots. Meanwhile, candidates in the Bukap by-election will tour neighborhoods before holding final intensive rallies to conclude campaigning. Busan City said it is pushing a support program to install flood barriers known as water blocking panels a month before the monsoon and heavy rain season. The city is working with district offices to encourage applications and finish installations before the rainy period. As climate change brings sudden downpours and flooding, the city provided 200 million won to 16 districts in January to prevent damage in low-lying homes, shops, and basements. Officials call this period the last golden time for prevention. Districts will survey risk areas and accept applications until funds run out. The city will cover up to 90% of installation costs, and owners, managers, and tenants can apply, though details and requirements may vary by district rules. In international news, as the United States and Iran continue tensions over a draft memorandum of understanding, President Donald Trump returned a revised proposal. He is seeking clear commitments from Iran on its nuclear program and reopening the Strait of Hormuz, CNN reported yesterday. A third country official said the changes are not major, but focus on firm assurances. The draft included reopening the strait, extending a 60-day ceasefire, and starting denuclearization talks. However, Trump rejected it on May 29th and sent back stricter terms, calling for stronger wording on Iran's commitments. And now for today's weather. It is currently 20 degrees Celsius with rain. Heavy rain is expected in some areas until the afternoon, then it will stop. That wraps up this hour's news. Thank you for joining us. You're listening to BFM 부산 영어 방송.
Your best choice. BEFM 부산 영어 방송.
Coming up next is Busan Worldwide with Stephanie Yoon. BEFM 부산 영어 방송.
Good morning and welcome to Busan Worldwide. They say you find out who your true friends are when times are tough. It's a phrase we've all heard before, and it applies not only to people, but also to relationships between nations. 77 years ago, when South Korea was going through one of the darkest periods in its history, the Philippines reached out as a true friend. During the Korean War, the Philippines became the first Asian country to send combat troops to support South Korea, fighting alongside us to help defend freedom and peace. 네, 한국전쟁 당시 필리핀은 아시아 국가 가운데 가장 먼저 전투병을 파병해 대한민국의 자유와 평화를 위해서 함께 싸웠습니다. And that bond of friendship built through sacrifice and goodwill remains strong even 77 years later. Today, South Korea and the Philippines continue to work together as trusted partners from trade and investment to education, culture, infrastructure, and advanced industries. The two countries support each other's growth and prosperity. And here in Busan, that friendship feels even closer and more meaningful. Now, as time goes by, there are people we should never forget. So who comes to mind when you think of someone whose kindness stayed with you through the years? Well, this is Busan Worldwide, and I'm your host, Stephanie Yoon.
Busan, where the light of the world comes together. Stories from Busan connect to the world. The closest place to hear the voices of the region. Right now, at the center of the stories you want to know. Busan to the world. Busan Worldwide with Stephanie Yoon.
Welcome, welcome. This is Busan Worldwide, and you're tuned in live on Tuesday morning, June 2nd on BEFM Busan 영어 방송, 90.5 FM in Busan and 103.3 FM in Gijang, Jeongwan, and Noksan areas. Lots of messages coming in today. We have, of course, as always, Betty-님 messaging in saying, hello everyone, happy Tuesday. And Betty-님, you're going to have to stay tuned because we are talking about the Philippines, and I know you are tuning in from Philippines. And we also have Kevin messaging in saying, hello, Stephanie and everyone over there. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And we have JC-님. Welcome, welcome. They said, it's raining here in Gijang. Oh, good morning. It's raining here in Busan as well. Hope you're staying dry and safe as well. We have Jin Lee-님 saying, it's rainy. Stay safe. Yes, yes, stay safe. And 사랑대요님 saying, happy Tuesday. It is raining. Yes, raining all over. So if you're walking or driving outside, be careful, please, please, please. Now, the city of Busan is now accepting applications for DIVE 2026, a global data hackathon that will take place this July at 벡스코. 네, 부산시가 글로벌 데이터 해커톤 대회 DIVE 2026 참가자를 모집합니다. In this hands-on competition, public institutions and private companies will provide real-world data, and participants will use it to tackle industry challenges by developing services and apps with practical solutions. When one person's idea meets data and another person's experience helps shape it, new solutions can emerge. In many ways, human relationships work the same way. Even when people speak different languages or come from different cultures, a willingness to understand one another can create new opportunities. And when those connections grow stronger, relationships between two countries can become stronger as well. So for today's The Interview, we'll be joined by Consul General of the Philippines, Leah Victoria T. Carrata. We're going to talk about the newly opened Consulate General of the Republic of the Philippines in Busan, which began operations this past March. The growing partnership between the South Korea and the Philippines and the opportunities that lie ahead for cooperation here in Busan. We're going to talk all about it, so stay tuned for that. But before that, let's talk about today's text topic question. What is the most comforting word or act of kindness that gave you strength while living abroad or experiencing an unfamiliar culture for the first time? So think back to the first time you arrived in a new country. Maybe you were visiting or maybe you moved to that country. The language was different, the culture was unfamiliar, and everything around you may have felt a little overwhelming. And in moments like that, what often stays with us are the small acts of kindness. Someone can say, it's okay. Do you need help? What do you need? Or a friendly smile from a stranger helping you find your way, or someone patiently waiting while you try to communicate. You probably remember those moments. So today, we would love to hear about those warm words or thoughtful gestures that someone gave you or made you feel welcome, right? When you were living abroad or experiencing a new culture for the first time. 네, 오늘의 문자 주제 알려드릴게요. 외국에서 생활하거나 낯선 문화를 처음 마주했을 때 가장 큰 힘이 되어줬던 따뜻한 말이나 행동은 무엇이었나요? And you can send us your messages to pound 9050 for 101 or reach us for free through Kakao Talk or YouTube live chat. Now, I would say when I traveled to Morocco back in like 2023 or 2024, we arrived and it was hot, dusty, and I had no idea where I was. But when we arrived at this hotel, it wasn't a nice hotel or anything, but the host of the hotel, he just sat down with us and he served us tea and gave us his number. And he said, if you need anything, just call me. And we actually had to call him because we needed a lot of stuff and we were lost and we lost things as well. And he was just so helpful. And I still remember him and I took pictures with him with my family. So just having him there and his phone number was just really welcoming and it helped as well. So when I'm living in Korea, I hope I can be that kind of person to people visiting or living here for the first time. And that was a great experience because of that specific person. So I hope I can be that kind of person. And if you have that kind of memory, let me know to pound 9050 for 101 or reach us for free through Kakao Talk, YouTube, live chat as well. We have Benny excited about today's interview. And Kevin messaging in saying, yes, we should thank the Philippines and the people there. Absolutely. And 정부수님 saying, 반갑습니다. And Jerry님, as always, saying, hello, hello. Thank you so much for your messages. We're going to jump into today's The Interview. And the time is now 11:13, which means it's time for The Interview. 76 years ago, in the autumn of 1950, there were deeply appreciated individuals who crossed the ocean and took their very first steps at the port of Busan to defend the freedom and peace of this land. They were the young, brave souls of the Philippines, the first nation in Asia to dispatch troops, and time has flown by. And in the spring of 2026, Busan has now thrown its doors wide open to offer a warmer, broader embrace to that very grateful friend. Amid the monumental momentum of the conclusion of the Korea-Philippines Free Trade Agreement, FTA, and the elevation of bilateral relations to a strategic partnership, the Consulate General of the Republic of the Philippines in Busan officially opened its doors this past March. So today we're joined by Consul General of the Philippines, Leah Victoria T. Carrata. Together we're going to dive into heartwarming stories of people-to-people connections that transcend borders and fill our conversations with the dynamic future visions these two regions will build together. 네, 오늘 더 인터뷰는 레아 빅토리아 카라다 총영사와 함께 합니다. 국경을 넘어서 사람과 사람이 연결되는 따뜻한 이야기, 앞으로 그려갈 두 지역의 또 역동적인 미래 비전까지 가득 채워보겠습니다. Welcome and hello, hello.
Hello, great to see you again, Stephanie.
Yes, it's a pleasure to see you.
And thank you for having me here in the Busan English Broadcasting.
Yes, it's a pleasure having you in the studio. Could you start by introducing yourself and sharing how you feel about your appointment as the inaugural Consul General of the Philippines in Busan?
So to our listeners and viewers, annyeonghaseyo. At sa ating mga kababayan na nakikinig at nanonood, kamusta po kayo? Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. 총영사관, 총영사, Leah Victoria T. Carrata입니다.
네, 반갑습니다. Welcome,
as the first Consul General, I am honored to serve our kababayans here in Busan and the neighboring provinces and cities. And I look forward to strengthening ties between the Philippines and Korea through various forms of cooperation.
And I'm sure many of our listeners are looking forward to seeing how that relationship, right, between Korea and Philippines will continue to grow. And I think it's a very exciting moment, not only for you personally, but also also for the Filipino community here in Southern Korea. And so the Consulate General first actually opened its temporary office at WeWork BIFC in December of 2025 before relocating to its current office in Choryang. So since arriving in Busan and beginning your work here, what has your experience been like, and what were the first impressions of the city and its people?
So since the Consulate General opened, my time has been devoted to supervising consular operations and making sure that we deliver our services effectively and efficiently. I've also been meeting with Korean counterparts and also here in Busan and also in Seoul and building partnerships and strengthening Philippine-Korea relations. My first impression of Busan, I think many will agree maybe that it is a city full of life. It has beautiful coastline, modern infrastructure, and vibrant atmosphere, and it is very welcoming. And it was my first impression further strengthened when I attended and the Global Citizens Festival.
Right.
We had booths showcasing Filipino culture, and it was heartwarming to see many people coming together and connecting with each other. So congratulations go again to the Ministry of Justice and to the Busan Global City Foundation, and I would like to give a special shout out to my good friends, Immigration Chief Yon Che, and to BGCF CEO Jun Young Woo.
Definitely. And you mentioned that it's our second time meeting. It's because we ran into each other at the global, of course, the Citizens Festival. And it was a pleasure to seeing you, and you did a little speech as well. So it was wonderful to see. And if you didn't go, listeners, it was a wonderful experience. I hope you guys all go next year. And I think residents here would be happy to hear their city being described, how you described. And until now, Filipino residents and businesses in the Yeongnam region here actually faced the inconvenience, right, of traveling all the way to embassy in Seoul. So what do you see as the greatest diplomatic and practical significance of establishing this new consulate general in our city of Busan?
So you're correct. The thrust of the Philippine government is to bring government services closer to Filipinos in Busan and other metropolitan cities and provinces in the southern part of the Republic of Korea. Our coverage covers 4 metropolitan cities, so that's Busan, Ulsan, Daegu, and Gyeongju. And we cover the provinces of North and South Gyeongsang, North and South Jeolla, and the Jeju province. Instead of traveling to Seoul, they can access our consular services efficiently and conveniently. On the diplomatic side, it reflects the growing importance of the strategic partnership of the Philippines and Korea, and we are engaging the Republic of Korea more at the regional level. Busan is the second largest city. It is a major international port, a key center for trade, investment, education, and cultural exchange. Through our permanent consular presence, we are deepening our engagement with local governments, businesses, the academe, and communities. And we're strengthening people-to-people ties that have long connected Filipinos and Koreans. We see ourselves as a bridge, providing services and protection to our nationals and promoting closer cooperation and mutual understanding between the Philippines and Korea, especially in the southern regions of this country.
I see. And it sounds like this Consulate General is much more than just a government office. It represents a stronger and more visible connection between the Philippines and communities across southern Korea. Now, the Philippines was the very first nation in Asia to decide to dispatch troops during the Korean War. And the very first Korean soil those Filipino soldiers stepped on was the port of Busan. Very meaningful. So how do you feel this history connects to the modern relationship between South Korea and the Philippines, as well as to the city of Busan itself today?
The history of the Korean War is still a strong foundation of the relations between the Philippines and Korea.
Yes.
And we are proud that we are the first Asian country to send troops to support Korea. And we first arrived at the port of Busan with 1,400 Filipinos. And as part of what we call PEFTOC, the Philippine Expeditionary Forces to Korea. In total, there were 7,400 Filipino officers who served in Korea during the war. And today, we share our shared history continues to strengthen the close friendship and enduring partnerships between our two countries.
Yes, and that's a remarkable piece of history that many people may not be fully aware of. And it's inspiring to see how a friendship made during difficult times continue to flourish more than 70 years later. It's beautiful. Now, listeners, if you're just tuning in, we are in the middle of the interview joined by Consul General of the Philippines, Alea Victoria T. Carrada. And the world's only UN Memorial Cemetery is located in Namgu here in Busan. And it honors those soldiers with a monument for the Philippine Armed Forces. In what way do you believe this space allows us to remember the shared history of the Philippines and South Korea? And with what mindset do you wish to face it when you visit?
So, the UN Memorial Cemetery in Busan is a meaningful place for both our countries. Our president visited the cemetery last November at the sidelines of the APEC meetings, and together with the First Lady, they planted a tree in the UN cemetery to honor the soldiers and to symbolize the shared history and the enduring friendship between our two countries. I myself visited recently, and if Ambassador Jong In-soo, the custodian of the UN Cemetery, is listening, thank you for touring me. He also toured the President and the First Lady. I can say that it was a very moving and solemn experience. It showed the courage of those who sacrificed, and it strengthened our appreciation for the peace and friendship that we enjoy today.
And we saw some of the pictures of you actually visiting the UN Memorial Cemetery. That's you right there, I believe,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So is that the last time you visited or the first time you visited?
The first
time
and
you
last.
visited. Oh, first
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
last time.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And is that the tree that you mentioned?
Yes, the juniper tree that the president planted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful moment indeed. And thank you just for sharing that experience with us. I think it's moving to think that this shared history continues to bring our two countries closer together today. And the bond formed between South Korea and the Philippines during the Korean War continues to drive a wide range of cooperation and exchange. So in your opinion, what is the most important value or sentiment that has kept these two nations connected for such a long time?
Our relationship of 77 years has been sustained by shared respect and gratitude, our common commitment to peace, and rooted in our history in the Korean War. These values have evolved into strong people-to-people ties and wide-ranging cooperation in many areas. Today, the enduring friendship is further strengthened through a growing strategic partnership that continues to expand our cooperation and deepen our engagement as close partners in the region.
I see. And I think it's a powerful message. Maybe that's why the partnership between Korea and the Philippines has continued to grow stronger across so many different areas over the years, which we will talk about. Now, with the entry into force of the Korea-Philippines Free Trade Agreement, FTA, the relationship between our two nations is becoming even closer. So what new roles and possibilities do you think the opening of this Consulate General will create for economic and industrial exchanges between Busan and the Philippines moving forward?
So you're correct. The FTA between our two countries is a significant milestone in our economic relations. And Busan is a major port and logistics hub, and this creates greater opportunities for trade, investment, and industrial cooperation with the Philippines. I recently attended the Global Yongdo Coffee Festival to promote Philippine coffee, and I learned that 90% of coffee beans that enter Korea land at the port of Busan.
Yeah.
So it creates very good opportunities between our both countries because the Philippines, because of its climate and mountainous regions, we produce the four varieties of coffee. So I hope more Koreans will be able to enjoy Philippine coffee and also our many agricultural and seafood products. As I have to mention our bananas, mangoes, coconut, mangosteen, pomelo, pomelo, dragon fruit, calamansi or Philippine lime, and seaweed, and also our octopus, abalone, shrimp, and squid, and so much more.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
our listeners and viewers would be also happy to learn that creative and cultural industries are one of the priority areas of our FTA. And the Philippines looks forward to participate at the Busan Film Festival, as we always do, through the Film Development Council of the Philippines. And recently at the Art Busan, we also showcased the contemporary art from Philippine art galleries of Gallery Stephanie and Improv Art Gallery. And our National Commission for Culture and the Arts aims to engage with Art Busan and other stakeholders to promote Philippine contemporary art and cultural heritage. More on cultural exchange.
Yeah.
So, Director Jeremy Barnes of the National Museum of the Philippines recently visited through the invitation of the Korea Foundation, and to promote wider engagement and in digitalization and artificial engagement. And I would like to say hi to the representative of the Asian Cultural House and the Director General of the Korea Foundation, Director General Chang Shung-ji. Annyeonghaseyo. So also a special mention to the ASEAN Culture House, which is currently displaying Philippine textiles and clothing. I hope our viewers and listeners would also be able to visit the ASEAN Culture House, and as it also displays our iconic Philippine jeepney.
Yes.
So with the opening of the Philippine Consulate General, we see ourselves in a stronger position to support these growing exchanges, helping connect businesses, facilitate partnerships, and promote opportunities under the FTA more actively.
I see. And I briefly saw you while you were at the Yeongdo Coffee Festival. And could you tell me what you were doing? You were standing behind some coffee. It wasn't this picture. It was the one before, I believe.
So we were invited on stage
Uh-huh.
to be a barista. We were demonstrating how to prepare coffee.
Oh.
So you have to put the water slowly and
Yeah.
then wait for the water to go down and put water again.
Wow,
Yeah.
Consul General, you look very happy.
I was very excited to do it.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
Lovely to see how the Philippines, and not just the cooperation with the government, but also it's involving coffee and all the foods that you mentioned. I love that, and I think listening to you, it becomes clear that the opportunities created by the FTA actually extend far beyond a trade alone, and I think it's exciting to imagine how the Consulate General can serve as a bridge, as you mentioned in the beginning, connecting not only just businesses, but also creative communities, coffee, and cultural institutions on both sides. Now, Busan is heavily focusing on future industries alongside its traditional maritime logistics and shipbuilding sectors as well. While the Philippines is highly recognized for its maritime infrastructure and growth potential, so in which areas do you foresee the greatest synergy between the two regions, and what specific exchanges and collaborations is the Consulate General looking forward to supporting?
So Busan and the Philippines are both surrounded by water, so there are strong complementarities that present clear opportunities for cooperation. The key areas of synergy include maritime and logistics, shipbuilding, and port development, where Busan's advanced capabilities align well with the Philippines' strategic maritime position and growth potential. There's also strong promise in future industries, such as smart cities, ICT, and healthcare. And we want to see expansion of collaboration through knowledge sharing, innovation, and investment. Our Philippine Consulate General supports linkages by connecting stakeholders and encouraging practical cooperation between governments, businesses, and institutions on both sides.
I see. And it sounds like there is enormous room for innovation and partnership in the years ahead, especially in emerging industries that will shape the future of our economies. Now, listeners, if you're just tuning in, we are speaking with the Consul General of the Philippines, Lea Victoria T. Karada, and lots of messages coming in about the Philippines. We have Anju Songni messaging in. Thank you, Philippines. We fought together for freedom in Korean War. We appreciate you. We also have Benny Nim from the Philippines messaging in saying, Ube is probably our top export these days as well, just to add that. So many products, I'm sure. And Kevin Yim saying, I love Filipino cuisine. Me too. Well, Busan has maintained a long-standing sisterhood relationship with the province of Cebu in the Philippines. With the establishment of the Consulate General, are there any plans to initiate new exchanges with other Filipino maybe cities besides Cebu?
So Cebu and Busan has already had a sisterhood for 15 years, and it is a strong and long-standing one. It continues to serve as an important foundation for local level cooperation between our two countries. With the establishment of our office, we see greater potential to broaden city-to-city exchanges beyond Cebu. And there's growing interest, and there are many promising areas, such as in trade, education, culture, and local governance, where additional partnerships with other Philippine cities and regions could be explored. And we look forward to working closely with local governments, both in Korea and in the Philippines, in identifying new opportunities for cooperation that build on the strong ties already in place.
I see. And I think it's very encouraging to hear the long-standing partnership between Busan and Cebu has already shown how meaningful city-to-city cooperation can be, I'm sure. And a large community of Filipino residents, workers, and international students currently live here in Busan and wider Yeongnam region as well. So during your time, what policies or activities will you focus on the most to protect their rights and interests and ensure their stable settlement?
Our priority is to ensure that the Filipinos in Busan and in the wider southern portion of Korea receive timely, responsive, and accessible consular services. And this includes the efficient delivery of our services and strengthened assistance to nationals when needed. We are committed to working with Korean authorities, local governments, and partner institutions to promote the welfare, protection, and smooth integration of our community here. And we aim to actively engage with our Filipino residents, students, and workers through our outreach activities and through information campaigns to help ensure their well-being and their stable settlement in Korea.
And I'm sure you know, but for many overseas residents, having accessible support and knowing that someone is looking out for their welfare can make just a tremendous difference. So it's such an important work. Now, the Philippines, especially places like Cebu and Boracay, remains one of the most beloved travel destinations for not just South Koreans, but South Koreans as well. So are there any hidden, charming cities or cultural gems in the Philippines that you would personally recommend to our listeners?
Cebu and Boracay are already well known among Koreans, and there are many other destinations that offer rich culture and unique experiences. I'm sure our Filipino viewers will be typing in the other destinations that you should be visiting.
So many.
But what comes to mind is Iloilo and Bacolod. They are known for heritage, festivals, and their warm hospitality. There's also Vigan in the north in Ilocos Sur. It's a UNESCO World Heritage City with well-preserved Spanish colonial architecture. There's also Bohol in the Visayas. They're well known for the Chocolate Hills, and it's their ecotourism sites. So these destinations have become more accessible with direct flights from Busan to Philippine gateways of Manila, Cebu, Clark, and Bohol. And overall, we showcase the diversity of the Philippines beyond the well-known beaches and offer meaningful cultural and travel experiences.
Right. And I think you may have just inspired some of our listeners and me to start planning our next trips. And we have some messages coming in saying, yes, Cebu, Boracay, as well, even Bohol, like you mentioned. Beautiful. And as Busan increasingly transforms into a multicultural society, what kind of mindset and attitude should our community adopt to become a warm environment where we respect each other's cultures and live together in harmony?
I think the most important mindset is openness and mutual respect. So living together in harmony starts with understanding and valuing each other's cultures and differences. For Filipinos, it is important to actively engage with the local community, build relationships, and actively participate in everyday community life. And at the same time, a welcoming and inclusive environment from the host community makes a big difference. So in the end, it is through respect, communication, and empathy, small but consistent efforts that allows us not only to coexist, but truly live together as one community.
Yes, yes. And as you said, sometimes it's the small just acts of respect, communication, and understanding that ultimately build the strongest communities. And to wrap up, what is the core goal you are absolutely determined to achieve during your tenure as the Consul General in Busan? And could you leave our listeners with your final farewell?
Our core goal is to make the Philippine Consulate General truly accessible, responsive, and people-centered. We want to serve the needs of our Philippine nationals while making sure that we also strengthen the friendship and cooperation between the Philippines and Korea, especially at the southern part. We want to deepen our economic, cultural, and people-to-people ties. And this allows our partnership to continue to grow in a meaningful and future-oriented way. And to our listeners and viewers, thank you so much for listening. Kamsahamnida, maraming salamat po.
Love that, love that. And thank you so much for sharing your vision with us today. And we do wish you great success in achieving those goals. And we do look forward to the positive impact of your work throughout Busan and beyond. And that's going to do it for today's The Interview with Consul General 레아 빅토리아 T. Carrada. 네, 오늘 더 인터뷰에서 레아 빅토리아 카라다 총영사와 함께 했는데요. Consul General, thank you so much for being here with us. Thank
you so much.
All right, with that, let's take a quick song break. This is The Overtones with Loving the Sound.
Yeah, it's over. All the tears I've cried in vain. Yeah, you promised, but you never ever change. No, no. Feel like you never noticed me, never saw my face. Standing in the corner trying to get some grace. We're so over, I'm in a better place. I'm gonna let the light surround me. Yeah, I'm gone, moving on, and I'm loving the sound of the beat of the drum. And I'm gone, yeah, I'm gone, moving on, and I'm loving the sound of the beat of the drum. Are you lonely? Now you know just how I felt. Hey, but you're too late. Nobody left to blame but yourself. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you never stop to think about what we had. Ain't it such a shame all the good turn bad? Can you feel me? I'm not looking back. I'm gonna let the light surround me. Yeah, yeah, I'm gone, moving on, and I'm loving the sound of the beat of the drum. And I'm gone, moving on, and I'm loving the sound of the beat of the drum. La la la, la la la, la la la, la la la. I'm loving the sound of the beat of the drum. Feel like you never noticed me, never saw my face. Standing in the corner trying to catch some grace. It's so over. Yeah. I'm gonna let the lights surround me. Yeah, I'm gone, moving on, and I'm loving the sound of the beat of the drum. And I'm gone, moving on, and I'm loving the sound of the beat of the drum. Yeah, I'm gone, moving on, I'm loving the beat of the drum. I'm gone, moving on.
And that was Loving the Sound by The Overtones. Welcome back to Busan Worldwide. The time is now 11:40 and I'm your host, Stephanie Yoon. And let's check out some of the messages coming in. We have Sky님 messaging in with a thumbs up. And Kevin Neem saying, I didn't know these travel destinations. Thank you so much for the recommendations. And listeners, if you're tuning in through YouTube, you can probably see what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at a big screen. Usually I look at it on my little phone or a tablet. But yes, I am privileged and honored to be reading all the messages on here. So send it away. You might be on there. And let me remind you of today's text topic question of the day. What is the most comforting word or act of kindness that gave you strength while living abroad or experiencing an unfamiliar culture for the first time? So let's check out some of the messages. We have Jeremy messaging in. 낯선 나라에서 혼자 명절을 보내고 있었는데요. 현지 친구가 집으로 초대해서 함께 식사를 했습니다. 가족과 떨어져 있다는 외로움이 사라질 만큼 따뜻했던 기억입니다. 라고 보내셨어요. That is beautiful. I think just inviting someone to their home, and that really, it shows that you can actually experience their culture, but they're inviting you to their family, and it's the safety of their place, right, where they feel the most safe, and you are invited. That's such a great honor, right? And that's wonderful that you were able to experience that. Actually, when I first moved to Colorado, 20 years ago, not 30, 20 years ago, first time I ever joined an actual Thanksgiving dinner, it felt like I finally experienced an American dinner, American culture, and I really enjoyed it. I still remember from like 17 years ago, and I think that shows that we can do that too, right here in Korea for Chuseok or Seollal, great opportunity that we have. And let me know what you think or what you have experienced, most comforting word or act of kindness that gave you strength while living abroad or experiencing an unfamiliar culture for the first time. With that, let's jump into today's Busan update. And now it's time for Busan Update. Busan will host the 19th Busan Port Festival from June 19th to 20th to celebrate the 150th anniversary of the opening of Busan Port. 부산시는 6월 19일부터 20일까지 이틀간 북항 친수공원과 랜드마크 부지 부산항만공사 사옥 일원에서 제19회 부산항축제를 엽니다. So this year's festival has been especially organized to mark the historic milestone and highlight the significance of Busan Port. Visitors will be able to enjoy a variety of hands-on programs showcasing the port's history, culture, and global connections. Major attractions include the Port Lounge experience, water leisure activities, and a unique running event alongside the waterfront. And families can also take part in activities including mission tours, model shipbuilding, and children's art and writing contests. Special port experiences including harbor tours and cruise rides will also be available. And the festival will officially open on June 19th with performances by K-Will and Nerd Connection, followed by fireworks show over Busan Port. And that's it for today's Busan Update.
BEFM's The Interview is waiting for your participation. If you have any interesting stories to tell or unique experiences you'd like to share with our listeners, please leave a message on our website at www.befm.or.kr. We hope that your lives and experiences can be an inspiration for our listeners.
베트남 하노이의 정리나 통신원 안녕하십니까?
네, 안녕하세요.
네, 반갑습니다. So let's jump into our first topic. On our previous program, we reported that the United States had designated Vietnam as a priority foreign country and was required to decide within 30 days whether to launch a Section 301 investigation. That decision has now been made, hasn't it? 네, 지난 방송에서 미국이 베트남을 우선 협상 대상국으로 지정하면서 30일 만에 통사법 301조 조사 개시 여부를 결정해야 된다는 소식을 전했는데요. 결국 미국이 조사를 시작했군요.
네, 미국 무역대표부 USTR이 지난 29일 1974년에 제정된 통상법 301조를 근거로 이 베트남의 지식재산권 보호와 집행을 둘러싼 불공정 무역관행 조사에 공식 착수했습니다. 이 4월 30일 우선 협상 대상국 지정 이후 정확히 30일 시한 안에 결정이 내려진 셈인데요. 이 베트남이 5월 한 달간 전국 단속까지 벌이며 미국 설득에 나섰지만 막아내지는 못한 모양새입니다. 이 제이미슨 그리어 USTR 대표는 이 베트남이 최근 몇 년간 일부 조처에 나섰지만 침해 행위가 미국 혁신가와 창작자의 경쟁력을 계속 훼손하고 있다고 조사 배경을 밝혔습니다.
그렇군요. So on the 29th, the Office of the United States Trade Representative, USTR, officially initiated an investigation into Vietnam's unfair trade practices surrounding the protection and enforcement of intellectual property rights based on Section 301 of the Trade Act enacted back in 1974. The decision was made exactly within the 30-day deadline following the priority foreign country designation on April 30th. And although Vietnam spent the month of May launching a 24-day nationwide crackdown to persuade the U.S., it appears that they were unable to block it. USTR Representative Jameson Greer stated that the background for the investigation, while Vietnam has taken some steps in recent years, acts of infringement continue to undermine the competitiveness of American innovators and creators. Now, a Section 301 investigation can ultimately lead to tariffs, making this a significant development for Vietnam. There are also indications that recent trade figures may have played a role, so tell us more. 301조 조사는 관세 부과로까지 이어질 수 있는 만큼 베트남 입장에선 부담이 클 텐데요. 특히 최근 무역 수지 상황도 영향을 미쳤다는 분석이 나온다고요?
네, 그렇습니다. 이번 조사가 베트남의 대미 수출이 급증하는 시점에 나왔다는 게 핵심입니다. 이 미국 통계 기준으로 올해 1월에서 3월 미국의 대베트남 무역 적자가 우리 돈 약 82조 원을 넘게 기록했는데요. 이는 같은 기간 미국이 중국과 멕시코를 상대로 본 적자보다도 큰 규모입니다. 베트남이 단숨에 미국의 최대 적자국이 된 셈입니다. 트럼프 행정부가 무역 적자 축소를 거듭 강조해온 만큼 이 지식재산권을 명분으로 한 이번 조사 뒤에는 이 무역 수지 자체에 대한 압박이 깔려 있다는 분석이 나옵니다. 실제 301조 조사가 관세로 이어진 전례도 있는데요. 트럼프 1기 때 USTR이 똑같은 조항으로 중국의 지재권 탈취 관행을 조사한 뒤 연간 수천억 달러치 중국산 수입품에 25%의 관세를 부과한 바 있습니다.
I see. So the core issue is that this investigation came at a time when Vietnam's exports to the U.S. are surging. According to U.S. statistics, the U.S. trade deficit with Vietnam from January to March this year recorded $54.8 billion, which is about 82 trillion Korean won. And this scale is even larger than the deficit the U.S. saw against China and Mexico during the same period, elevating Vietnam all at once to the largest deficit country for the U.S. As the Trump administration has repeatedly emphasized reducing trade deficits, and analysts actually, they suggest that is behind this investigation, which uses intellectual property as a pretext, lies pressure on the trade balance itself. In fact, there is a precedent where a Section 301 investigation led to tariffs, and during Trump's first term, the USTR investigated China's IP theft practices using the exact same provision and imposed 25% tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of Chinese imports annually. Well, how is the Vietnamese government responding to the investigation? 그럼 베트남 정부는 어떻게 대응하고 있습니까?
네, 정면 대응 대신 협의 카드를 택했습니다. 팜투앙 베트남 외교부 대변인은 이 30일 301조 조사 개시는 미국 법에 따른 절차라면서 관련 사항을 양측 협의와 자문을 통해 다뤄나가겠다고 밝혔습니다. 그동안 베트남의 노력을 미국이 긍정적으로 평가해온 만큼 객관적이고 공정한 평가를 요구한다는 입장도 함께 냈고요. 또 자체 단속도 대대적으로 벌였음을 강조하고 있습니다.
그렇군요. 앞으로 양국 협의가 어떤 방향으로 전개될지 관심이 모아지는데요. So instead of direct confrontation, they chose the card of consultation. Vietnam's Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson stated on the 30th that the initiation of the Section 301 investigation is a procedure under U.S. law and that they will address the relevant matter through bilateral consultations and counseling. They also put forward a position requiring and requesting an objective and fair evaluation, given that the U.S. has already evaluated Vietnam's efforts positively. And Vietnam is actually emphasizing that it has also conducted extensive crackdowns of its own. Well, turning to our next story, amid growing trade friction with the United States, Vietnam's General Secretary and State President To Lam delivered a closely watched message in Singapore. And I understand he became the first Vietnamese leader to deliver a keynote address at the Shangri-La dialogue. So let's hear a bit about that. 네, 다음 소식 볼게요. 미국과의 통상 갈등이 이어지는 가운데 또람 베트남 서기장 겸 국가주석이 싱가포르에서 주목할 만한 메시지를 내놨습니다. 베트남 지도자로서는 처음으로 이 대화에서 기조연설에 나섰다고요?
아시아 안보회의죠. 이 샹그릴라 대화에서 베트남 지도자가 기조연설을 한 것은 이번이 처음입니다. 이 직후에는 외신과 인터뷰도 가졌는데요. 이 또한 또람 서기장이 당 서기장과 국가 주석을 겸한 뒤 응한 첫 국제 언론 인터뷰입니다. 이 미중 경쟁이라는 큰 화두를 두고 베트남의 입장을 국제 무대에서 직접 천명한 셈입니다.
I see. So this marks the first time a Vietnamese leader has delivered a keynote speech at the Shangri-La dialogue. Right after, he also held an interview with foreign media, which is notably the first international press interview General Secretary To Lam has granted since he concurrently holding the positions of Party General Secretary and State President. It amounts to directly declaring Vietnam's stance on the international stage regarding the major topic of U.S.-China competition. And it seems that Vietnam is clearly facing a complex mix of economic and geopolitical challenges. It'll be interesting to see how the country navigates them in the months ahead. That's going to do it for all the reports coming from Vietnam. 베트남에서 전해주신 소식 잘 들었습니다. 고맙습니다.
네, 감사합니다.
All right, and that was Ms. Chong Nina, based in Vietnam, Hanoi. And listeners, that's going to do it for all the segments we have prepared for you today. If you enjoyed it, make sure you tune in tomorrow at 11:05 a.m. Final song for today is by Adele with When We Were Young. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Everybody loves the things you do, from the way you talk to the way you move. Everybody here is watching you, 'cause you feel like home. You're like a dream come true. But if by chance you're here alone, can I have a moment before I go? 'Cause I've been by myself all night long, hoping you're someone I used to know. You look like a movie, you sound like a song. My God, this reminds me of when we were young. Let me photograph you in this light, in case it is the last time that we might be exactly like we were before we realized we're a sign of getting old and made us restless. It was just like a movie, it was just like a song. I was so scared to face my fears, Nobody told me that you'd be here. And I swear you moved overseas. That's what you said when you left me. You still look like a movie. You still sound like a song. My God, this reminds me of when we were young. Let me photograph you in this light in case it is the last time that we might be exactly like we were before we realized we were sad of getting old. It made us restless. It was just like a movie. It was just like a song. When we